Almost all the conflict is because this man can't keep his mouth shut. Hi everyone! So I'm so excited to be doing this series where I give book recommendations based off of your Harry Potter Hogwarts house. Yay! I've had so much fun coming up with what to recommend for each person, so please let me know if you feel like these books are accurate and up your alley, your magical Diagon Alley. Oh my god, cringe. Anyway, so today we're gonna start with Gryffindor. I got some books for you, so let's do it. All right, so Gryffindor. With each of these houses, I picked some keywords to help focus me as I was looking through my list of books for a recommendation. So your keywords are brave, reckless, adventurous, helping others. So I have 4 book recommendations for you based off of those. First, Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. This is a coming-of-age story about buccaneers and buried gold and this young boy named Jim who's trying to outwit pirates. All the vibes of a Gryffindor. You have this classic adventure story that's fast-paced, exciting, new setting, new world, new wacky characters, and you have this young boy who's clever, but like in a reckless way. Like he jumps into the action. He jumps into danger in order to come up with his next plan of action. And I think that's the main difference between a Gryffindor and like a Ravenclaw or a Slytherin, is that they will all be like smart or clever, but Gryffindors jump right into it. They are the more reckless in the moment smarts and wit versus the standing back and observing and then making a call or a tactical decision. I think a Gryffindor would really eat this book up. It has all the elements of a good time and a character that's willing to make mistakes because they're just going to jump in, take charge, and get shit done energy. Then we have The Odyssey by Homer. This is a story of Odysseus's 10-year journey to get home after the Trojan War and encountering divine and natural forces that make him really late for supper. It's funny because back in college, I had to read The Odyssey along with a bunch of other classic books. And then for our final essay, we got to actually choose the essay prompt. And one of the prompts, which I chose, was sorting these heroes of classical literature into the Hogwarts houses. And I totally picked Odysseus going into Gryffindor because some people thought he was Ravenclaw because he is smart and intelligent, but he uses that smart and intelligence in a reckless way. Almost all the conflict is because this man can't keep his mouth shut and just jumps into the fray, and like things end up working out for him. Not so for his crew. Spoiler alert. That didn't go well for them. And that's so Gryffindor vibes. So Gryffindor vibes of like this half-assed plan that's smart but doesn't think of all the consequences. They're a bit mouthy. They want to help others, but they don't really consider the situation fully and consider others fully before they just hop in and potentially make a bigger mess. Again, you have a good adventure story. You have a sassy, clever protagonist that is encountering all of these different settings and conflicts and like mini bad guys, if you will, kind of episodically leading up to the climax. And I think a Gryffindor would really dig this. Next, we have the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. In this story, after a teacher tries to kill him, Percy Jackson's mom admits that he's the son of a Greek god and sends him off to Camp Half-Blood, where he gets some new friends and uncovers a mystery that leads him on a quest across the United States to prevent a catastrophic war between the gods. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone, given my first 2 recommendations, because you have, again, a main character that is brave, that isn't afraid of action, that you have, again, an adventure story. You have this person who wants to belong, wants to help others, is active and proactive and sometimes reactive, but gets the job done. And I think Gryffindors really appreciate that. Like, I think their worst nightmare when it comes to protagonists is one that sits around and does nothing or just thinks all day before making a decision. And they'd much rather have it be a bit sloppy, make a few mistakes, crack a few eggs, and like get out there than someone that's like sitting back on the sidelines. Last but not least, we have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This story is about Monty, an English gentleman who is going on a grand tour of Europe with his younger sister and his best friend who he's kind of in love with. And what starts off as a fun trip abroad leads to a manhunt across Europe. I guess looking at this, it's not surprising that a lot of the book picks that I've mentioned have a main character that I would peg as a Gryffindor type. And I think it's because Gryffindors would just really vibe with stories that are about Gryffindors. I think they have a hard time sometimes seeing other people's point of view. Just a little shade there. And so you have Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which is about like Victorian era. This guy goes on what? An adventure, and he's reckless, he's sassy, he's brave, he again is very passionate, he's very like in tune with his own wants and desires, which is very Gryffindor. Again, I think the whole vibe just screams Gryffindor. I think that Gryffindors would just really connect with this main character, and some of the flaws he has is flaws that I think a lot of Gryffindors struggle with, so they're like, oh man, I've done that too. So I really went hard on those keywords for Gryffindors, and I found, I think, books that just really locked in. Like maybe they were too obvious choices, but it fit the vibe. It just, yeah, I feel like Gryffindors are very like face value. It was pretty easy finding these characters, and I think there's probably more stories that center on Gryffindors because they do take action and they are like proactive protagonists. So it was relatively easy to find these. Let me know what you think of these books and book recommendations down below. I'd love to hear what else you would add to the Gryffindor book recs, and I'll see you next time when I go into the other 3 houses. Bye!